right, I want to take you to Atlanta, Georgia right now. A live look at the rally site for today's big Trump-Vance affair. This is another indoor venue, and that has been the case really for both sides since the assassination attempt of Donald Trump 3 weeks ago today. Now, Donald Trump has said he would prefer to go back to outdoor rallies. The sooner the better, but is that the best course of action? We're going to talk to Democratic Congresswoman Madeleine Dean from Pennsylvania in a moment. That state's certainly in the news of late. First to her colleague in this fight, Mark Green, the Homeland Security Committee chairman, a member of the bipartisan task force that's investigating that assassination attempt. Congressman, always great having you. We've talked about this before, sir, and you're trying to balance the need for candidates to reach their voters and their supporters and protecting those candidates and their supporters. It's a delicate balancing act these days, isn't it?
Yeah, it is an incredible balancing act. You know, to look at what happened and what happened to the president particularly, and then balancing both, because this is really a bipartisan issue. Trying to dig into what happened there is a bipartisan issue. So we have got to do everything we can to protect not only the president, but the people who actually attend these rallies. So we're going to get to the bottom of it in this investigation, and I think we'll work very well with the Democrats to do so.
You know, there are a lot of unanswered questions, and it seemed like in this briefing by the acting, Secret Service director, he raised more questions than he answered. But he did take all of these questions, or tried to. But what was clear to me, and you know far more than I'll ever know about it, that there was a breakdown in communication. And we've seen that before. Certainly 9/11 comes to mind, where various agencies literally couldn't talk to one another, whether they weren't on the same frequency on walkie-talkies, whether some were texting and others were using regular phones. What happened there, and what do you recommend if that is indeed cited as a theme here? How do you correct it? Easier said than done when you have a local police force working with a federal Secret Service force.
Yeah, so this is a critical part of the failure here. I mean, there are failures in the pre-planning phase, there's failures in the planning phase, right. There's failures that occurred during the event. During the event, probably the biggest issue was the communications. You know, they tried to get, hey, we see this guy ranging. Ultimately, a text was sent to a state police officer who was in the Secret Service control room. That was shown to the Secret Service about 10 minutes before. Someone made a decision to still let the president go up on stage. That's another issue. But we do have to get this communications piece solved. And it's pretty easy. I mean, the Secret Service can actually bring the radios for the local guys. I mean, it would really be that simple.
You know, do we know in retrospect, Chairman, whether when we got these reported threats from Iran to assassinate Donald Trump, that security was indeed beefed up for him?
So they added some technology, Neil, but they didn't add people, and they only informed the campaign about 7 days. They held that information, it turns out, 14 days before notifying the president's detail that there was an increased risk. And then all they provided was increased technology. They didn't provide additional people. For example, there wasn't a canine team that swept the area first on this event, and that's just unacceptable. They didn't cover that building, and that's just unacceptable, knowing the fact that there's a heightened risk. So failures in the intel phase, failures in the assessment and preparation phase, and failures during the event. There are going to be a lot of recommendations for Secret Service and coming out of this investigation.
Do we know of any potential foreign involvement? You heard about the arrest of this Chinese national who's repeatedly tried to get into Mar-a-Lago in Florida, saying that he has proof, I don't want to mischaracterize this, sir, of Chinese involvement in the attack on the former president. I stated earlier this Iranian potential link. What do you make of it all? Too soon to tell?
So we're going to ask those questions, and basically the way we're going to approach this thing is we're going to look at every single possible course of action. Was there some, domestic intentionality there? Was there some foreign intentionality and enabling of this shooter? All of that will be dug into, and right now nothing is off the table.
All right. How long do you think the investigation goes that you're leading, that you're helping?
Well, Mike Kelly is the guy who's in charge of the task force,
Right.
and I'm, committee chairman of Homeland, so I'll be integrally involved with him and helping him. But I anticipate this taking several months. We're already working. We're forming not only the team, but we're also forming the strategy by which we go after the information. He and I have had conversations nearly every day.
I think I ask this every time you're kind enough to join me on the show, Chairman, but that the motive of the shooter, do we know of any, even after these 3
I'm not
weeks?
sure. Yeah, I'm not sure right now they have enough information. They've hired the Israeli company to get into the encrypted stuff that they have found.
Right.
But I'm not sure there's been a breaking of that device or those devices or servers yet. But the FBI has hired them to actually break the encryption. Hopefully we'll get into that and find a motive. But his social media was clean, his family, all of his friends, they basically describe a loner, a young kid who was sort of picked on during high school and just off by himself. That's the best we've got right now on this guy.
Yeah, that part fits a pattern sometimes. Mark Green, thank you so much.